I want to talk a little bit today about the protests that happened in Russia on Monday, the Russia Day protests. Part of this is, of course, it's problematic for a number of reasons. One is that the freedom of assembly is something that people in the West, especially in America, have long held dear, and yet it's not common around the world and is becoming less and less common here, even in the United States. What happened in Russia is that one of the local politicians in Moscow, somebody who's part of the opposition party, called for a protest. Of course, the other officials are saying that's not going to be a legal protest. He called on it on a day when a lot of families would be on the streets. Anyway, Russia Day, big celebration, a lot of folks in costume, people with their families out there on the streets. And it was hard to tell who was doing what because, of course, all of the families are out there and the street performers. And then thousands of protesters began showing up with riot police showing up right along time because they knew that they were going to be having this illegal protest, and they needed to comply with the law to restrict the access. And a number of different questions occur to me on this. First and foremost is this: would you attend an illegal rally? Do you even know what that is? Here in the United States, right here in the land of the free, if you go down to a federal building and you protest on their grounds, you could be arrested. Did you know that? Because you have to have permission to protest first. And if they give you permission, you have to do it in a free speech zone. You see where this is heading? Now, if a friend of yours said, hey, we need to go down and protest something, most of the time Americans were so lackadaisical about it that we don't really have time. Much rather be sipping a beer, watching my football or my basketball or whatever, watching my sports. Because we have not taken an interest in protesting the actions of those who consider themselves our rulers, we have lost a lot of the freedoms that we think we have. We don't have them anymore. You see this on display in places like Russia where people courageously go out there and take to the streets and get hauled off. What the police did is they just randomly grabbed people off the street. It wasn't based on anything that they were doing. It wasn't based on signs they were carrying or on any bad behavior that they were exhibiting. Just the very fact that they were on the street in an unauthorized rally, they randomly selected people and took them off to jail. Hundreds of people were arrested. Now, what's going to happen from there, I don't know. Maybe it's just a revenue thing, pay your fine, you get out. Maybe they'll end up languishing in jail for weeks or months. I don't know. What I do know is this, is that if we in the countries where we think we have the freedom to do this don't exercise that freedom, we will lose it. Now, do you have something better to do than protest? You probably do. You probably have a job. You probably have a family. You probably have, a game to watch. But it's important every once in a long while to go out and have an unauthorized rally with some of your friends. If not, you may find yourself unable to do so later on. My 2 cents. I'd like to see what you think. Send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. If what you say is interesting enough, I'll call you and we'll do a podcast together. How's that sound? Steve@radiofreespeech.com.